Red Bull, yeah, exactly, man. Red Bull has been a very visible sponsor in the Sprint Cup Series for the past few years, and now reports have the brand leaving NASCAR as an ownership group. Drivers Casey Kane and Brian Vickers are both proven winners, but now they're worried about the future of this organization. For more, let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, Johnny, you are right. That is the big story in the garage area here at Infineon Raceway this morning and throughout the NASCAR world. Red Bull Racing and its two NASCAR Sprint Cup Series teams. Now, the general manager for that team is Jay Fry. The drivers, of course, Brian Vickers and Casey Kane. But on Monday, a story leaked out that Red Bull may be in trouble. And later on that afternoon, Red Bull Racing issued a statement that basically said it is ceasing its operations at the end of this year, and they are currently looking for outside investors. Now, at the same time, they said this year is A-OK. They will continue to go after victories and also the Sprint Cup Series championship. Now, also in a teleconference on Tuesday, General Manager Jay Fry said the next 30 to 45 days are very critical, and they hope to have some answers there. But the big question on all the fans' minds is what is going to happen with the drivers? We all know Casey Kane is going to Hendrick Motorsports in the 5 team next year, but Brian Vickers in the 83 team, he's been the sheriff in town here at Red Bull Racing since day one.
Red Bull has been a huge asset to this industry for 5 years now, and I hope they remain to be that. But their decision to step out as an owner was an internal decision, you know, and they're an incredible beverage company, but they decided they didn't want to own a NASCAR team. Fair enough.
Brian Vickers would like to return to this team in whatever form it exists next year. Now, he has talked to a couple of other teams as a free agent for next year, but nobody knows where Brian Vickers is winding up. Now, I did just speak to several members on this team, and they said, you know what? This team was a marketing team, not just a race team, and they were marketing a brand in Red Bull Racing. And they had a 5-year plan, guys, and this is the 5th year, and they only have 1 victory. They are 19th and 24th in points, respectively. A lot of questions about what is going on, but the big thing I am hearing this week, as soon as they made that announcement, they actually had a phone call from a very serious investor. And on the other side of the spectrum, Mark Martin's name keeps on coming into the ranks here, John. A lot of people know that Mark Martin may be quitting his driving career in the next couple of years in the Sprint Cup Series, but he wants to continue to be involved in NASCAR. In fact, I asked Mark, hey, what are you going to do next year? He told me a couple of weeks ago, I'll be in the garage area. Just you wait and see. So a lot of people are putting these pieces of the puzzle together to say Mark Martin may be involved with an ownership group next year. Ronnie?
Bob, thanks. Let's take a look at the history of Red Bull Racing. The first season was 2007. 1 win with Brian Vickers in Michigan, and their 4 main drivers along the way have been A.J. Allmendinger, Vickers, Scott Speed, and Casey Kane. All had some success with that organization. But, guys, probably the interesting thing about this organization, which is unlike other race teams, you see the sponsor out there, but that sponsor doesn't necessarily own the race team. In this case, Dietrich Mateschitz, yeah, there you go. Yeah. And that Red Bull team, they own this whole organization.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing is the restructuring. You heard Bob talk about a 5-year plan. Most businesses have a 5-year plan. Another thing that might be motivating these guys a little bit is that drivers, the names that wasn't on that list, and that's Sebastian Vettel in the Formula One series. They are dominating there. They're spending a lot of money there. I think what they want to do over here, I think they want to stay in the Sport Hermie as a sponsor, but I don't think they want to own a team anymore. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and really, it boils down to performance. And Darryl, you made a good point in the meeting this morning. Sometimes if you're the owner and the sponsor, you don't have that sense of urgency to have to perform to keep that sponsor. So they're saying, hey, we may be better off going to another team, finding another outlet to promote our brand with a team, separate the two so that the team knows, bam, we got to perform at the highest level because, as Champ said, everything else they do it to the top level. And in Sprint Cup Series, they just haven't gotten it done yet.
Yeah, and if they were able to maintain Brian Vickers and perhaps bring in a Mark Martin, maybe, that's just a rumor as of right now, that would be a good team for an investor to get into.
Well, it would be, and there's, you know, we've seen mergers of other teams, and we've seen a lot of things. We've seen Tony Stewart go to Stewart and form Stewart-Haas. There are a lot of scenarios here that we could see played out. We don't know what they're looking at right now, but I guarantee you they will not be going away. That's a great team. Jay Fry's a great manager. They've got all the resources, and I think Red Bull would stay involved with that team as a sponsor. I don't know at what level, but I think Mark Martin's name will come into play more and more as we go forward.
And we certainly wish them all the best as that unfolds. The Red Bull Racing story is one of the examples of the hot topics from the race. If